jobs in Luton, which is where our correspondent Neil Bradford is now. Neil, this really genuinely seems to have taken everyone completely by surprise.
Yes, the dotted... Well done. You'll look back at that later on this evening, I guess. Well, the dotted line for this deal was ready to be signed, and everyone expected the General Motors board in Detroit to do exactly that. Instead, this surprise U-turn that has surprised politicians, union officials and the workers here at Luton. And while it's not exactly clear what it means for the future of this plant, generally speaking, the workers have welcomed this news from the Blue. After months of negotiations came news from America last night of a spectacular U-turn. Vauxhall will not be sold after all. In Luton, the dark cloud that had shrouded this factory for so long appears to have finally lifted.
I'm very happy. My company is still there.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. GM is a big company, so usually it's good. Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, personally, myself.
The company says it's decided not to sell the business because of an improving environment for GM over the past few months. Not everyone is convinced the decision is good for Luton.
Yesterday we had a guaranteed future. Today our future's uncertain again because we don't actually know what General Motors' intentions are.
For families like the Yangs, it's been a dreadful year of uncertainty. We first met Vauxhall workers Brian and Carmel and their 6 children back in July. Carmel was on maternity leave then, wondering whether she would have a job to return to. Now back at work, there's still no guarantees about the future.
Up to now, you know, I thought we were guaranteed to 2013, so that was like a bonus. Now it's all back on the table again. So I don't know where we stand. I don't know whether it's for the best.
As she arrives for the late shift, her husband is coming home. He works earlies on the engine line.
Hopefully now it will be for the best, so we can stay under the GM umbrella. You know, there's a lot of uncertainties with Magna still. We didn't know precisely what they wanted. You know, as a quote saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
The uncertainty began in September last year when the company announced a drop in production and the first of many down days. Then in March, in a bid to save General Motors from bankruptcy in the US, the company put Vauxhall up for sale. 3 months later, a deal was struck with Canadian firm Magna, but last night, as it was about to be signed, the news came that the deal was off.
General Motors knows the 2 factories, where Magna wouldn't know that. I mean, it's uncertain in the sense that I doubt that there'll be any changes in the number of people that will be made redundant in the future. General Motors will still have to go through the process of restructuring operations in Europe to make them profitable.
Unions are hailing the news a success for the plant, but tonight the Yangs and their colleagues are still no clearer on what the future holds. It seems, for now at least, General Motors believes the Vauxhall way is the best.
So Neil, I mean, we've heard the local views there, but what's the political reaction been?
Well, the Business Secretary, Lord Mandelson, who of course visited this plant earlier in the summer, says he's keen to have early talks with General Motors to find out what it means for the future of the plant here at Luton and the workers at here and at Ellesmere Port in Cheshire. Now, he's always maintained that he's after the best long-term sustainable solution for Vauxhall. The German government, on the other hand, is furious. They're demanding that General Motors pay back the €1.5 billion bridging loan that they gave the company to take it through the protracted negotiations.
Neil, for now, thank you very much. HSBC has announced that 600 roles at its Southend headquarters will be lost over the next year as part of restructuring plans. The company, which employs 1,200 people in the town, will move its collections department to Birmingham, although card processing operations will remain in Southend. Some staff will be given the opportunity to redeploy. Southend Borough Council says the news is very disappointing and the job losses will have a big impact on the town.
A young mother from Peterborough has been found not guilty of murdering her baby daughter by a jury at Ipswich Crown Court. 21-year-old Kelly Inman was acquitted of murdering 7-week-old Leah following an 8-week trial. The jury is still deliberating on the boyfriend Olusola Akinrayli, who is also accused of murdering Leah.
Now tonight, detectives in Great Yarmouth are investigating whether the disappearance of a young family man is in any way connected to two apparent suicides in the town.
Derek Tempest hasn't been seen since last Wednesday. The 30-year-old father of three was last seen heading to a local garage where 5 days later, two men were found dead. Malcolm Robertson has this report.
For a third day, forensic teams have been searching for clues as to what might explain the deaths of two men in Great Yarmouth, as well as the disappearance of another. This complex investigation involves the apparent suicide of two middle-aged men, Jim Hall and Andy Ventham, who lived at the same house in Queen's Road and who worked together at Hall's Garage, a small car repair business just around the corner from their home. They were found dead sitting in the front seats of a car in the garage on Monday afternoon. It's understood they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. This happened just a few days after Derek Tempest went missing. The 30-year-old father of three from Yarmouth was last seen having a drink in the Blackfriars Tavern last Wednesday afternoon. He left there telling friends he'd be back in 10 minutes. It's understood that he went to the garage to see the two men. That was exactly a week ago. He hasn't been seen since. Detectives are now trying to establish why Mr. Tempest might have gone to the garage and if there was any connection between the three men. Richard Brooking told me he's known Derek for almost 20 years and his disappearance is totally out of character. A campaign to find him has been set up on a social networking site.
Well, it's got to a stage now, it's very serious. After the first day or two, you could expect him to just turn up on the doorstep. But at this moment of time, that isn't Derek. He just wouldn't do it to people, especially family and friends and his children.
He's got three children under the age of 7. His partner Sarah and mother Leslie are frantic with worry. 3 years ago, Leslie lost another son, Dale, who was killed in a road accident.
Try and think of the good, and then you think of the bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
When he was last, then when they said he was last seen at that garage, and then, what is it? I don't know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then 5 days later, the two people at the garage are found dead. Yeah, when Derek went to the garage, and 25 minutes, 30 minutes later, Derek's missing.
I'm trying to think positive for my kids, and then when it comes to me, I'm thinking the worst.
Privately, some police officers fear Derek Tempest may be dead. Tonight, they're wondering why he would have gone to the garage without any obvious reason. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Great Yarmouth.
The funeral of a 22-year-old soldier killed in a road accident shortly before he was due to be sent to Afghanistan took place today. Lance Corporal Joe Ricks was a member of the 1st Battalion, the Royal Anglian Regiment. He died on his way back from a night out in Wymondham. His funeral was held near Norwich this afternoon.
Now, on the day that news came of the deaths of 5 more British soldiers in Afghanistan, troops from the Light Dragoons returned from the front line to their families in Norfolk.
It's been a tough tour of duty for the Dragoons. 6 of their colleagues were killed in action. Well, we can join Natalie Gray now at their base at Swanton Morley near Dereham in Norfolk. And Natalie, I guess real mixed emotions today.
Yes, a whole rollercoaster of emotions. The Light Dragoons were engaged in some of the fiercest fighting of the summer in Helmand province in Afghanistan, and it wasn't without sacrifice. So there's been plenty of joy and relief here today that these loved ones had returned home in one piece, but guilt too that 6 families were missing from today's reunion. These are heart-in-the-mouth times when you have families at war, but for now these families don't need to worry about answering the phone or fearing a knock at the door. Their prayers have been answered, their families are safe. But let's remember now the 6 that didn't make it. The UK death toll since the war in Afghanistan began in 2001 now stands at 229 and makes 2009 the bloodiest year for the armed forces since the Falklands War. This is a close-knit community and the deaths of 6 of their own are deeply felt. Let's hear now from some of the people at today's homecoming. What's it like to have him back?
Oh, so nice, so nice. We're so excited. Oh, it's so nice. I can't describe it.
What's it like to be back, sir?
Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Really good.
It's been a tough tour of duty, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been tough, but we're all home now, so
You thank God it's not your husband, your brother, your son, but you still feel for the families that it is, because, you know, there's 6 families tonight that haven't got a relative coming home.
It's just every day seems to bring bad news. I mean, how do you cope with that?
You just got to get on with it. It's the mechanism we've all got. You just got to get on with it.
Some poignant words there, Natalie, but I gather there was a lighter moment, quite literally, for one soldier who hadn't seen his wife for 6 months.
Yes, for Sergeant Stephen Cooper, he recognised his children but not his wife Tracy, and that's because in the 7 months he's been away, she's lost 6 stone thanks to a gastric bypass. She's gone from 16 stone to just over 10 stone. What do you think of your wife then?
She's gorgeous now. She's lost a lot of weight while I've been away. I'm really impressed with her.
You've got a new wife, haven't you?
Very new. A very new looking wife.
Can you believe she's lost 6 stone in the 7 months you've been away?
No, I can't. It's been absolutely amazing. And she's done as well. She's coped really well with it.
Did you recognise her?
No, the kids I recognise, but not my wife.
Meanwhile, the Light Dragoons will parade through the nearest town of Dereham on December the 4th, and there'll also be a church service to remember those 6 fallen comrades.